We didn't convene in Abuja to engage in vocal contests. Our purpose was to discover unity in our differences.
The Vice President seeks harmony amongst arms of government as legislators hold retreat ahead of resumption.
Diverse funding sources is critical, but what I beg is that you look at simplicity and expediency.
Sidelines of ongoing UN General Assembly. Governments canvass more funding to tackle loss and damages from climate change.
With the diligent effort of military personnel and the associated security agencies, 6 of them were rescued.
Kudos to quick response of military forces as more kidnapped students of Federal University Gusau regain freedom. Hello and welcome to the Network News on NTA. I'm Naja'atu Tijani. Adeola Komi-Akere joins me from Lagos and Kemi Akinwande standing by in Ibadan. On the sidelines of the ongoing United Nations General Assembly in New York, governments say making loss and damage funds operational in developing countries adversely affected by climate change is critical to the fulfillment of the conference of the parties. Charles Alpha reports.
The ministerial consultations sought to garner political engagements to advance consideration and understanding of possible outcomes at COP28 in Dubai, United Arab Emirates. Governments from around the world at the ministerial consultation agreed that time is of the essence to bridge the funding gaps and adaptation to countries in dire need of the loss and damage funds. The funds and funding arrangements they believe require its operationalization to focus on possible robust framework that will deliver on the action and agreements from COP27, as well as impact livelihood and build resilience in the developing world.
Diverse funding sources is critical, but what I beg is that you look at simplicity and expediency.
In this vein, I would like to commend the work of the Transitional Committee tasked with providing recommendations for our consideration of COP28.
For Nigeria and Africa, it is all about inclusive governance and commitment by the developed world and private sectors who are the biggest contributors to the climate change to commit towards the operationalization of the loss and damage fund. Charles Alpha, NTA News.
Still on the effects of climate change, the Ministry of Environment is working closely with the World Bank to restore more than 1 million hectares of landscape degraded by desertification in 19 northern states and the Federal Capital Territory. Charles Alpha again reports that the mitigation efforts are in the form of distribution of operational logistics to MDAs for the implementation of the Agro-Climate Resilience Project in semi-arid landscapes.
Erosion and land degradation constitute some of the major climate impacts being faced in some parts of northern Nigeria, causing loss of large hectares of habitable and arable lands. The Agro-Climate Resilience in Semi-Arid Landscapes, ACRISA, funded by the World Bank and implemented by the Federal Ministry of Environment, is a 6-year project plan to restore about 4 million hectares of landscapes in 19 northern states and the FCT with the deployment of operational vehicles.
So this aspect of the certification is what ACRISA is supposed to address. The land area is very wide. That's why we say 19 states and FCT. And that is why you need vehicles to move around to see what is happening.
With this distribution, ACRISA is pitching its targets on restoring 1 million landscape before the end of its project duration, with 12 northern states already reviewed.
Restoration of the landscape has started immensely. At the last count, we have actually been able to restore over 2,000 degraded landscapes. We have over 1,900 beneficiaries directly. Our expectation is by mid-year review time frame, we would have been able to deliver more than 60%.
We're going to pledge to support them at any capacity they want us to do.
About $700 million has been earmarked by the World Bank for the project, and it is expected that this gesture will spur the implementation ministries, departments and agencies to show commitments and ensure timely delivery on the project. Charles Alpha, NTA News.
Meanwhile, turning Nigeria's democratic challenges into dividends calls for the concerted effort of all arms of government. Vice President Kashim Shettima said this at a two-day retreat for the leadership of the 10th Assembly holding in Ikodepene, Akwa Ibom State. Clement Barikui reports.
3 months after inauguration, past and present leadership of both chambers of the National Assembly are converging to share experiences and identify priority business for the 10th National Assembly while developing strategic legislative objectives for the respective chambers. And for Vice President Kashim Shettima, this is another demonstration of enduring bond existing among members of the National Assembly.
We didn't convene in Abuja to engage in vocal contests. Our purpose was to discover unity in our differences. Our presence was to safeguard the interests of our constituents by articulating their wishes and providing them with staunch advocacy. Our ultimate goal was to secure their recognition and representation within the executive branch.
For the leadership of both chambers of the National Assembly, better days are coming for Nigerians, going by existing partnership among the executive and the legislative arms of government, even as they insist on strict oversight functions.
We will not wait for Nigerians to ask, where is the National Assembly? We are very poised to undertake our oversight functions. We are poised to check the actions of the executive.
We have taken steps towards improving legislative governance outcomes that will contribute to national development.
The retreat, according to the DG, National Institute for Legislative and Democratic Studies, is the first under the institution.
Your vision and dedications are the cornerstone upon which our very democracy stands.
I hope that by the time we are done, we will have considered ideas and come up with actionable recommendations that will serve not only to improve the legislature, but also indeed the executive arm of government.
The times call for a departure from the old methods of doing things.
Moving from here, the lawmakers are expected to carry out their legislative businesses with the 8-point agenda of President Bola Tinubu, as well as his renewed Hope Manifesto in mind. From Ikodepene, Clement Barikui, NTA News.
Still on legislative functions, the House of Representatives will resume from its annual recess on Tuesday, September 26, 2023, to continue the first legislative year of the 10th Assembly. The Chairman, House Committee on Media and Public Affairs, Akin Rotimi Jr., in a statement indicates the House resumption notice has been conveyed via correspondence to members by the Clerk of the House, Yahaya Danzaria. Upon resumption, all ad hoc committees are expected to conclude their work and submit their reports for the consideration of the House. It is also expected that the final draft of the legislative agenda developed by the ad hoc committee led by House Leader Julius Yonvere will be considered and adopted by the House. State houses of assembly have been enjoined to uphold the independence of the legislature in their various states, as it is the symbol of democracy. Speaker, House of Representatives Tajuddin Abbas stated this in a congratulatory message to the newly elected leaders of the Conference of Speakers of State Legislatures in Nigeria. In a statement by Special Advisor on Media, Musa Krushi, the Speaker also congratulates the All Progressives Congress Conference of Speakers and the Northern Speakers Forum on the successful election of new leaders who he charges to be above board in piloting legislative affairs. The Speaker also urges presiding officers of state assemblies to hold their various executive arms accountable through effective oversight, and is confident of the combined experiences of the new chairman of the National, Regional and Parties Forum of Speakers will elevate the status and democratic credentials of state legislatures to new and enviable heights. The Minister of Foreign Affairs, Yusuf Tuggar, is promising to foster robust democratic structures at the grassroots as part of efforts to restore people's confidence in local council elections. Correspondent Garba Nata'ala reports that the Foreign Affairs Minister made this known in a bilateral meeting during the high-level week of the 78th United Nations General Assembly, where he received a delegation from the International Institute for Democracy and Electoral Assistance in New York. The minister pointed out the significance of government ensuring transparency and accountability to Nigerians at the grassroots, which also forms part of President Tinubu's foreign policy thrust. Yusuf Tuggar raised several issues such as the need to promote civic education and engagement at the local council level for Nigerians to become well informed about their rights and respect for the rule of law. After the meeting, Dr. Kevin Casazamora of the Institute for Democracy and Electoral Assistance promised to work closely to support the 4D diplomacy plan of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and restore its footprint in Nigeria. The International Institute for Democracy and International and Electoral Assistance is an intergovernmental organization. The need for value reorientation for sustainable growth is the reason the Minister of Information and National Orientation continually solicits increased partnership with change agents. This time, Idris Muhammad, represented at the Association of Advertising Agencies of Nigeria's annual general meeting, is asking all Nigerians to key into the present administration's renewed hope agenda for that required growth. Benny Adams reports.
These images and sounds that often evade your spaces with the intent of selling products and ideas also go a long way in shaping perceptions. For the Minister of Information and National Orientation, Mohammed Idris, he is of the view that the messages we craft should reflect values and our culture in addition to ideas that promote sustainable economic development.
We therefore need the support of all veritable change agents in the formal, informal, and the private sector to move our great nation in the direction of sustainable growth in all frontiers of our economy. In this direction, we are soliciting for the cooperation of the NCAA in keying into the renewed hope agenda of this administration and support government commitment to the value orientation of citizens.
The advertising industry will partner effectively with other key players, other key sectors of the creative economy to create exponential growth that will benefit all players in the sector whilst positioning our creative economy as a key contributor to Nigeria's GDP. Even in the midst of these turbulent times, I firmly believe that the future of our industry holds great promise. By standing united as members of the same family, we can navigate these challenges and emerge stronger.
Attaining the golden age, the advertising practitioners say, is a journey that will witness impactful reforms for national development. In Abuja, Benny Adams, NTA News.
The network news on NTA continued. President Bola Tinubu joins Nigerians, the academia and the scientific community to congratulate Professor Hippolyte Amadi for winning the 2023 edition of the Nigeria Prize for Science. Professor Amadi, a distinguished professor of medical technology at the Imo State University and a visiting professor of medical engineering and technology at the Imperial College London, was honored for his groundbreaking respiratory technology for newborns. In a statement, President Tinubu commends this innovative healthcare solution and expresses delight that the Nigerian scientists' innovation has already significantly reduced neonatal care costs and saved lives in verified hospitals which have adopted the use of the solar-powered neonatal ventilator. The president extends his gratitude to the Nigeria LNG Limited for awarding Professor Amadi the $100,000 prize for pioneering the neonatal care innovation, emphasizing that this gesture aligns with the Nigerian government's commitment to collaborating with the private sector and academia to achieve more success in critical sectors of Nigeria's economy, including healthcare, education, technology, and innovation. World Rose Day is being commemorated in remembrance of a girl, Melinda Rose, who died in 1996 battling a rare form of cancer. This year, in addition to the welfare of cancer patients, medical experts in Nigeria are advocating expansion of the National Health Insurance Scheme to cover the treatment of cancer cases. Aisha Uba Ali reports.
Day or welfare of cancer patients is dedicated to cancer patients globally and also in remembrance of Melinda Rose, a 16-year-old Canadian girl who died of cancer in 1996. According to World Health Organization, millions of people around the globe are suffering from one form of cancer or the other. In 2020 alone, 18 million incidences of various forms of cancer were recorded.
First and foremost, creating awareness for cancer by advocating public awareness campaigns to go along with prevention and then early treatment.
Dr. Mba highlights the need to show care and love to cancer patients as well as ensure that stigma is reduced.
If government can up that and make it wider coverage in NHIs generally, and in particular patients with cancer, it's a time for us to give cancer patients some benefits in terms of this national cake of NHIs.
On Rose Day, people send flowers, especially roses, messages and other gifts to cancer patients, as health experts say suffering from cancer can be traumatizing to both the person and family members. The little gesture of love caregivers say can have a great effect on patients. The day also serves to spread further awareness about cancer, raise funds for cancer research, and to sensitize people to what cancer patients go through. It is worth noting that the peg for the day, Melinda Rose, who had just 2 weeks to live, as diagnosed by doctors, died 6 months later. She used those months to write several poems and songs. In Abuja, Aisha Uba Ali, NTA News.
Away from health matters, the House of Representatives is urging the National Youth Service Corps to expedite action towards securing the release of 8 prospective corps members from Akwa Ibom State who were abducted by terrorists in Zamfara State while on their way to orientation camp in Sokoto State. In an interactive meeting with the House Committee on Youth Development, the Director General of the NYSC, Brigadier General Yusheu Ahmed, explained that 3 out of 11 corps members in transit escaped from their abductors and are currently serving, while rescue efforts are ongoing for the others.
We were able to rescue one of the prospective corps members who happened to be shot. He was shot on the first day. He was kidnapped. We are on it. And I want to assure the House members, God's willing, we will get these prospective corps members out.
That the NYC management team visits the families of the abductees, the kidnapped corps members, as a way to empathize with them within 7 days.
The NYSC DG appeals to corps members to avoid night travel. Meanwhile, more students of the Federal University Gusau kidnapped in the early hours of today have regained freedom due to ongoing efforts by combined security forces still working to rescue all the captives unhurt. Jamilu Ibrahim tells us more.
It was another tragedy for the students and staff of the Federal University Gusau Zamfara State and its host community as the marauding terrorists struck again. The terrorists attacked 3 female hostels located a few meters away from the university campus and whisked away some of the students.
This thing started around 2 in the night, midnight. That is when everybody slept. I forget. They just came like they break this door. They were hitting their door that they should open it, So they refused to open. They now break windows, use through the window and pack other students.
More than 30 students and more than 10 people working on contract side were kidnapped. However, through the diligent effort of military personnel and the associated security agencies, 6 of them were rescued and 2 were able to escape unhurt.
Zamfara State Deputy Governor Malam Mani Mummuni led a powerful delegation of the state government and heads of security agencies to sympathize with the rescued victims and to reassure the university community of government's commitment to ensure safe rescue of all the captives soonest.
Right now, we have been trailing these abductors since morning, and we have developed contact with them. The Air Force are hovering on them. We are just trying to see the best way we can rescue them without any casualty.
The incident is coming barely 3 months after a violent protest by students of the university following the kidnapping of some of their colleagues who eventually regained freedom about 5 weeks ago. In Gusau, Jamilu Ibrahim, NTA News.
Weeks after the washout of the Gombe Road at Kalchanga village, NTA's Emmanuel Akila reported on the ordeal of road users before it was temporarily restored. Emmanuel revisited the place, bringing this update on the current situation.
There was a major washout at Kalchanga on the Gombe Road. Now it has been fixed and is accessible. But motorists are crying out loud that the problem is far from being solved.
Sincerely, we are not comfortable with the temporary repairs. Looking at the current situation, one would only assume that the palliative measures taken should be followed by repair that will stand the test of time, while total reconstruction, as suggested by the engineer from the Federal Ministry of Works, is awaited.
This one needs completely construction.
Flying this road, actually, it brings a lot of fear, not thinking of what you will go and face along the road. If it rains, you may end up not having an access road and all that. This road is the only road that connects almost all the states in the northeast.
Besides the economic losses as a result of time wastage, the condition of the road heightens risks to lives and property.
We're talking about the prevailing road condition. Even if they said you are allowed to speed here 100 kilometers per hour, if the prevailing situation at that material time cannot permit it, it is your duty, it is your responsibility to adjust your driving to suit the prevailing situation. And that is what we expect from the motoring public.
From Kalchanga village on the Gombe Road, I am Emmanuel Akila, NTA News.
And from that report from Kalchanga, we head to Lagos, where Adiola is standing by with more reports.
Thank you, Najatu. COVID-19 remains a subject of concern due to its devastating effect on human lives and global economies. The virus is presenting new subvariants in some countries. This calls for the need to intensify efforts at mitigating it and other re-emerging infectious diseases to avoid another pandemic. Correspondent who interacted with medical experts will tell us more.
From Alpha, Beta, Delta to Omicron, just like many viruses, COVID-19 is still mutating into more variants and subvariants. World health leaders are worried about emergence of new strains like the EG5 and BA286 in some parts of the world. This development calls for keeping up with personal preventive protocols, but are Nigerians still observing the preventive measures?
People have stopped washing their hands. All the signs, all the rules are just being unfollowed.
Health officials in the country are not leaving anything to chance in preventing an outbreak.
We continue to come together on that pandemic modeling to see what's happening, check response of test results coming from private laboratories, public laboratories. If there are any positive cases, we go on to know what variant is there, because there are fewer positive cases coming up here and there.
Experts believe laboratories, especially those established during the heat of the coronavirus pandemic, to carry out surveillance and scale up testing for communicable and non-communicable diseases should be active.
We actually did a scientific survey of all the labs in this country, precisely to find out the state of the labs. And surprisingly, we discovered that there is a great deal of potential.
We have a lot of private labs that have actually migrated from COVID to other infectious diseases like TB, hepatitis B, human papilloma virus, and other infectious diseases.
Establishment of more molecular laboratories to boost local vaccine production, medical practitioners say, is key in fighting outbreaks.
Following a viral video indicating that a section of Domalong Bridge connecting Ikorodu Road to Western Avenue is in critical condition and requires urgent attention, the Federal Ministry of Works has assured Lagos residents that there is no cause for alarm as the bridge is in good condition and fit for use. This was made known by the Federal Controller of Works in Lagos, Olukorede Kisha. Hengino John Adams tells us more.
One of the bridges connecting Western Avenue and Ikorodu Road. Thousands of vehicles ply the Domalong Bridge daily. Recently, a video showing an opening in one of the expansion joints on the bridge went viral, and this created apprehension among Lagos residents.
A lot of duty is passing towards this way. So you can see the up have gotten broke. It's a dangerous event. So we pray that they will do something on it.
They should come and do it in time before it gets worse.
Responding to people's fear, officials from the Federal Ministry of Works and Lagos State Ministry of Transportation say there is no need to panic as the bridge is safe for use.
It's very fit for use, so we've told motorists to go about using the bridge with peace of mind. It is only a negligible portion of the parapet wall which does not have anything to do with structural integrity or stability.
Bridges are built with expansion joint at a particular distance. During expansion, they contract and they expand. For the bridge to contract back, that is where the problem, due to the accumulation of debris that over months, over a year, has caked, prevent the bridge from coming back to its original position.
Concerning the faulty portion of the wall that protects pedestrians, the Federal Controller of Works, Lagos, said due attention will be given. In Lagos, Hinginu John Adams, NTA News.
In transportation matters, the Nigerian Civil Aviation Authority (NCAA) has inaugurated a 35-member committee to review and audit all fuelers and fueling facilities in Nigeria from the initial source to the point of fueling the aircraft, with a view to enhancing safe aviation activities in the country. The Director, Operations and Licensing of the agency, Ibrahim Bello Dambazo, on behalf of the DG NCAA, charged members of the committee to work with due diligence to come up with recommendations which will address the challenges surrounding aviation fuel contamination and quality control to curb unlicensed Jet A1 fuel marketers. Members of the committee are drawn from the Nigerian Civil Aviation Authority and other agencies of the Ministry of Aviation, as well as the Nigerian Midstream and Downstream Petroleum Regulatory Agency, the Department of State Security Services, and the Association of Fuel Marketers in Nigeria. The Aviation Safety Inspector of the NCAA, Christopher Kwaso, is chairman of the committee, which is expected to submit its report within 60 days. Nasarawa State Government says China Railway has indicated interest in constructing a rail line from Kefi to Abuja to ease traffic along the corridor and enhance effective transportation. Governor Abdullahi Sule made this known after a meeting with the general manager of the company in Lafia. Aliu Tijani reports.
There have been conversation among stakeholders and commuters on the need for a railway line connecting Kefi and Abuja to ease volume of traffic on the road. Now, the idea is coming to fruition as China Railway has indicated interest to invest in the rail sector in the state. A self-sustaining project has designed for 6 terminals along the route and is expected to boost economic activities along the corridor and create jobs.
A lot of people will travel from Benue to come to Lafia, drop their vehicles, go to Abuja, come back, take their vehicles, and go to Benue, go to Taraba, go to all these kind of places. So that's the potential. So I'm telling you, this is a very, very, it's an excellent project that any investor will see the potentials of the return on investment.
In Lafia, Aliu Tijani, NTA News.
The Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, says recent presidential nominee Dr. Olayemi Michael Cardoso has formally assumed duty as acting governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, pending his confirmation by the Senate. In a statement by the Director, Corporate Communications Department, Isa Abdulmumini, the assumption of duty follows the resignation of Godwin Emefiele as governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria. Deputy governors designate have also assumed duty in acting capacities, sequel to the formal resignation of Folashodun Shonubi, Aisha Ahmed, Edward Lamtek Adamu, and Kingsley Obiora as deputy governors of the CBN. Dr. Cardoso and his colleagues subscribed to the relevant oaths of office in a brief ceremony held at the bank's head office in Abuja and have since settled to the task of administering monetary and financial sector policies of the federal government. It's time to join Kemi in Ibadan for more updates. Hello, Kemi.
Ajatu, and welcome to Ibadan. Minister of Power Adebayo Adelabu has assured Nigerians that National Control Center in Osogbo will be upgraded with modern technology to measure up with global standard. The minister who visited the control center also promised to ensure stability of the national grid. Femi Afariogun reports.
The visit of the Minister of Power Adebayo Adelabu to the National Control Center Osogbo became necessary due to the critical role the center is playing in the national grid. Accompanied by the Managing Director of TCN and other top management staff of the company, the Minister of Power reiterates the commitment to make sure Nigeria generates 30,000 megawatts by 2030.
We must be able to increase the capacity of the grid to get more to the consumers. So we have targets for transmission capacity, we have targets for distribution capacity, and we have targets for power generation capacity.
The minister warned against negligence of duty, act of sabotage, and vandalization of national assets, as experienced during the recent two-day warning strike declared by the Nigerian Labour Congress.
You have the right to industrial actions, but do not set the entire nation into blackout. How everybody in Nigeria will suffer. They have a way of negotiating with government, and they still get their requests.
He assured Nigerians of better days in the power sector. In Osogbo, Femi Afariogun, NTA News.
In a deliberate attempt to reduce crime and criminality by controlling undue access to firearms, the Oyo State Police Command has requested that residents in possession of prohibited and personal firearms to submit search at police stations closest to them. This was at the routine police press briefing in Ibadan, where 33 suspects, including 60-year-old Isaac Adeyemi, suspected for impersonating the Inspector General of Police, were paraded. Grace Ayonleke takes it up from here.
At 4 different times, I called myself the Deputy Commissioner of Police to help people who requested for my assistance.
With claims that he was only using his goodwill to assist those who sought his help with police-related matters, especially junior police officers. Preliminary investigations, however, revealed that.
Upon interrogation, he confessed to have been using the fake identity for some time and explained that apart from extorting money from members of the public who sought assistance, he also equally uses the fake identity to gain undue and undeserved advantages.
Amongst others paraded for crimes ranging from cultism to armed robbery is a nomadic cattle herder who confessed to the crime of murdering his employer and rustling his cattle and sheep.
I left him for dead at the spot where I hit him with a club after scolding me for sitting down doing nothing.
In navigating the dreaded Ember Month period, the police highlighted the review of firearms licensing and regulations alongside other proactive policing strategies to upscale its crime control mechanism for public safety and general security in Ibadan. Grace Ayonlike, NTA News.
The Minister of Works, Senator David Umahi, is displeased with the state of federal roads in Akwa Ibom State. Senator Umahi made this known during an inspection tour of federal roads in Akwa Ibom State. Kelvin Samuel reports.
The cries of the people for enhanced road network across the country for easy movement of goods and services is the reason for this visit. Minister of Works, Senator David Umahi, is in Akwa Ibom State for the first-hand knowledge of the present condition of federal roads in the state, who assures that henceforth federal projects must meet required standard to attract payment.
So we need to fix the road so that our people will go back to their farms and bring their produce. I won't pay any contractor a favor unless the commissioner says that the road or the remedial work is being properly done. And when the federal road is completed, the governor, the commissioner, they must get involved to say, yes, this job is properly done. You know, we are not interested in how much you are making. We are interested in the quality.
Deputy Governor of Akwa Ibom State, Senator Akoni Yaganyi, while appreciating the Minister for the inspection, draws his attention to the state of east-west roads, Calabar to Highway and other major roads.
Very happy that this is happening. It's a proof that the right person is now on the saddle of operation, where you have to move personally to drive through all the bad roads, to see things for yourself and to feel what the people are feeling, and I'm very certain that will give you a great drive to do the needful.
The minister is to visit a number of ongoing projects in the state for the one-day tour. In Uyo, Kevin Samuel, NTA News.
In the world of sports, Nigeria rules Africa Junior Tennis as athletes across the federation set for honors in National Youth Games in Asaba, Delta State. Details with Olumide Guntola.
We begin with the National Youth Games in Asaba, Delta State. 4,500 athletes from 36 states of the federation, including FCT Abuja, are set to compete in 35 sports, with some major events scheduled for this Saturday. The Minister of Sports Development, John Eno, wants the country to produce future stars through the games. Athletes have been screened at the indoor sports hall of the Stephen Keshi Stadium, while members of the main organizing committee, local organizing committee, and directors of sports are scheduled to meet on Saturday, 6 p.m. In football, Super Eagles head coach Ose Pasero is optimistic that Napoli's striker Victor Osimhen is destined for the coveted Ballon d'Or award. The coach expressed hope that Osimhen will smile to Nigeria with the title after he made the 12 elite players shortlist vying for this year's award. In tennis, Nigeria's Seun Ogunsakin is now Africa #1 after he defeated his opponent Hamid Damor from Tunisia 7-6, 6-7, 6-3 in the final of African Masters Under-14 Tennis Championship in Morocco. He had recorded 5-match unbeaten streak before the final. Still on tennis, Rafael Nadal sparked fears as he made a worrying admission about his return from injury. The Spaniard has not played a match since January and underwent arthroscopic hip surgery in June. Nadal is currently planning a comeback in 2024, but he said he has to be realistic and accept there was a possibility he may not recover. With sports update, Olumide Guntola, NTA News.